So, I just want to say a little bit about the concept, the idea of personal agency as like a guiding intention of our work. That this is what we're after through stories being developed, through people having a chance to develop a rich account of who they are, that this brings them to a place where they have a sense of agency in their life, that they experience a sense of agency. So just to say a little bit about agency, and this fellow, Michael White, talks about agency, or this is one quote from some notes, being able to intervene in one's life as an agent of what one gives value to, and as an agent of one's own intentions. To be able to live, well, a few other ways of saying that we'll put in here. You know, being able to really engage in directing the course, in steering the course of your own life, rather than have life, experience life as being pushed around, of being done to, of having things happen to you that are beyond your control. Just being able to shape your life, being able to shape it in accord with what you give value to. And I think that, like, the everyday rendering of personal agency is being in the driver's seat of your own life. And that's right. And I think somebody asked the other day, like, what is it with narrative therapists and bike riding? You know, like, what is it? and I thought, well, you know, maybe, just maybe, it has to do with this sense of agency. That, you know, on a bike, so I know when I experience riding on a bike, it's that sense of being able to steer it and go where you want to go. That you don't have to go where all the cars have to go, because cars have to stick on a particular road, on roads. That you can go the little byways, and that I like the feeling of that. I like the feeling in my body of, yeah, I can go anywhere under my own steam. Under my own steam. Maybe there's a link between bike riding, a little stretch. Anyway, like when we think about this idea of agency, you know, just to draw some distinctions. There is a debate that we can read about and go into, where, like, radical constructivists would say that this idea of agency is a construct. You know, it's just a social, cultural construct, the idea that we can influence our lives, that we can have agency in our lives. Modernist thinkers, you know, structuralist ways of thinking, would see agency as something that's just founded on human nature. It's the inner reserves, the resources, or the drives and needs, that this is a rendering of what agency is, that it's some inner bucket of agency. And neither of those understandings take us anywhere useful, whereas our friend Lev Vygotsky talks about personal agency is neither a construct nor an expression of nature, of human nature, but rather is founded on concept development. And being able to draw out and develop those concepts so that we can use the concepts to steer our lives. Those concepts of life, those concepts in our work, we can think of them as as all of the understandings and beliefs that people give value to, their intentions and purposes, the conclusions of life that they reach that are important to them, the principles of life, commitments, what they stand for. This would be familiar to you as like the landscape of identity, that aspect of the story. That is a conceptual landscape. That landscape is a conceptual landscape. And the practices of life, the being able to do life in accord with that, is that landscape of action, the knowledges and skills involved in the doing of those concepts. So I think in the end, a very everyday account would be to think of personal agency as knowing where you want to go, knowing what sort of life is important to you, knowing like how you want to be in the world. So knowing where you want to go, really knowing what this is about in terms of what you give value to, having a chance to get really clear or connected with that landscape of identity, those concepts of what you are about, who you are as a person, but combined with the skills and know-how to live a life that is about what you give value to. It's no good just having an idea of the sort of life you want to live, what life means to you, how you want to live. There's no good just having the concept of that. Without the skills and knowledges, the practices of life, the ways, knowing how to take the steps to be able to live in accord. We need both of these. And both of these together bring us to rich story development. Because I think that agency is rich story development. Having a rich account of our preferred stories gives us that real connection with what matters, what we give value to, the themes of the story, but it also gives us the know-how and skill that is in those stories. And I think that agency is having both of these. We can't have one without the other.